once in a video about is the data warehouse dead?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go back to the cloud a little bit and ask, so with some of the new technologies and tools out there and the new way of looking at data, and maybe because the warehouse isn't dead, maybe I already answered my question, but I also get the sense that we don't need no stinking ETL. Like, you probably heard that before, right?
Once or twice.
Are ETL developers dead? I mean, you're not dead. You're real, right? You're real. So
is the discipline dead?
Is the discipline dead, or is it dying?
So I hear the same thing. So the questions of, is the data warehouse still relevant? Yep. Is ETL still necessary with Hadoop, with tools that allow you to do large analysis on unstructured data?
I mean, Microsoft sells that. Like, we don't need ETL. It just you can transform it on the way in magically. That's not what they say, but that's what they say, right?
So I think ETL developers are still necessary. ETL development discipline is still necessary, because while there are lots of sets of data that can benefit from that disorganized or unorganized technology, spread it out into piles of data lakes and things like that, where we're doing some analysis on that data. So there's always going to be a market for structured data analysis.
Sure.
If you're looking at things like, if you're detecting sentiment analysis, for example, if you're looking at a lot of Twitter data, a lot of anecdotal data feedback that you're getting from customers, you want to allow for nuances in, if it's not structured exactly right, that's okay.
Sure.
But in a case of, say, financial reports, prediction reports, shareholder reports, those need to be structured. They will always need to be structured, because if I ask the question today, if I ask the same question tomorrow on the same set of data, I better get the same answer. Otherwise, I'm going to be misleading and possibly breaking the law in some cases if I'm providing a different answer to the same question. So ETL, it's not the only solution to the problem. It's not the only answer to the question like it used to be. Has it diminished in popularity? Maybe a tiny bit, but in reality, I still see a lot more true old-fashioned ETL. I shouldn't say old-fashioned, traditional ETL.
I know what you mean.
Than the big data analysis that's available. Both are necessary. Both are valuable. But for the types of reporting that I do for the large companies that I work with, and some of the small companies as well, they need to have those structured reports that provide the same answers over and over again in a very structured and rigid type of way.
Yeah. You've been doing this for how long? ETL?
ETL, 10 years or so?
10 years, okay. You're reading books, you speak and blog and MVP and all that. But so, I know you're getting old, but can you remember 10 years ago, Tim?
I can remember a few things from 10 years ago.
So talk to 10 years ago, Tim, and tell him or her what they should be doing today to prepare. For the change. Like, what are some tips for somebody who wants to jump into this career? Like, it's different now. But I hear it's different, but it's not different. There's new stuff. There's new tools in the toolbox. Some of the old tools are still there, or the old-fashioned, or whatever you want to call it. Those tools are still there. So what do you, what advice do you have?
So I think I would tell 10 years ago, Tim, look more into the cloud. The cloud, so we talked a little bit about the cloud in previous videos. It's certainly not the end-all, be-all, and it's not going to be the destination for all sets of data. But the cloud has certainly become or morphed into a big part of the way that we do business. And it always will be. So looking for, honestly, if I could go back 10 years ago, I'd be building a cloud integration tool. And as soon as the cloud really took off, I would have had some sort of tool that would easily integrate with that. The good news is that the tools that we use nowadays, they have slowly come along to where they do support, if you're doing Pig or Hive or Azure Data Lake or whatever else, they easily integrate into those things. But part of the problem with adoption in the last several years has been those tools had been slow to adapt to the technologies that were available in the cloud and with big data.
And do you have advice for, say, a company today that's maybe, they're talking to those third-party data analytics tools? Like, you buy our solution, everything's all included. All you have to do is give us your operational source, and we will magically have the data appear and report on it. What do you have advice for them? I mean, those products aren't all bad, right? They're right in certain situations. So what advice do you have for them who are thinking, the people who've been told by salespeople that the ETL is dead and you don't need to do ETL? What do you say to them?
So I would say run run a pure set of your data through it.
Yep.
So don't take a salesman's word for it.
Sure.
Yes, there are cases where semi-automated tools can help with that type of thing, but it's not appropriate for every workload. I would hazard to say it's not appropriate for most workloads, because most of what we do, you need to have some sort of structure and rigid approach to it, rather than just an ad hoc go out and try to interpret what the data means. Because moving data and interpreting the meaning of data is very much a human function. It's a business function and not necessarily a technical function.